Some things have changed over at the Rippaverse. The website has been updated. There has been talks of this update over the past, I would say, few weeks, maybe couple months. And I like what I see. The site looks a lot more professional. Not that it didn't look good before, but there's levels to this. You see some websites and it's like, this is decent. This is really good even. But then you see other websites and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't realize how much better this site could be and the improvements that this site needed until I saw their update. And the update to the Rippaverse website is definitely a beauty. I like what I'm seeing. So they released Goodyng The Polymath, or let's say the pre-orders have started. This is way different than the other campaigns. The other campaigns had like a couple month lead time. I think it was like, was it like 2 or 3 month lead time? Something like that. Because I remember doing my pre-orders and at a bare minimum, I want to say 2 months, maybe a month and a half. This one is 30 something days from the time of your pre-order till shipping starts. So I think the Rippaverse is starting to roll out like a regular comic book schedule. I think their goal is to release one comic book a month, which with the titles they already have in place and some of like the other titles that are coming up, I think this is possible. At first I was like, man, one every month, especially with the page count in these books, I don't know if that's possible, but seeing how the team is being built up and all of the people that are being brought in, I'm like, okay, maybe I was mistaken and this is actually possible exactly how it's laid out. So I'm going to take you to the website. We're going to see some of the differences and some of the changes and what's going on. It definitely, like I said, looks a lot better. And I have some theories about Goodyng that actually has made me a little more, well, I say a little more, kind of a lot more interested in what he has going on. So you see the website. You see how it's, scrolling. You can, grab and drag, which I like. And they have character descriptions. You can sign up for memberships right here. As you can see, I already signed up for a membership. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I say I like the Rippaverse. They have memberships. I think what they offer is worth my money, and I will put my money where my mouth is. I think ultimately when a company comes out with whatever thing, you have to make an appeal to the fans. If you offer something that people want, people will pay for it. I've always said with my videos, I would love my channel to grow and be monetized. I'm not going to blame YouTube. It's not that YouTube isn't making it harder. Yeah, they may be. But if my videos attract an audience, if I offer something of value that people want, then it doesn't matter what YouTube is doing. The people are going to flock to the content because you tell a friend to tell a friend. If my videos are good enough, let's put it that way, and entertaining, and you appreciate the information I offer and you like listening to my opinion, then you're going to tell a friend about it. Like, hey, I found this guy, The Thinkening, on YouTube and his channel is worth watching. I like what I hear and I think you will like it. YouTube can't stop that. So I take full ownership. I'm not going to, maybe they shadow ban. Well, I know they shadow ban people. Maybe my page is shadow banned. Maybe it's not, but I'm not going to lay all that blame on them. As I offer you value, you will reward that with your viewership. And that's what I'm attempting to do. I don't post as many videos as some other people, but what I post, I try to make it about things that I enjoy and things that you, the audience, have clearly enjoyed. The Rippaverse is clearly enjoyed by my audience. Now, this won't be the only thing I cover. Obviously, I love comic books in general. Some people have abandoned Marvel and DC. Again, not the biggest DC reader, but I've not abandoned the big content houses. Do I think they offer great value as they did in the past? No, I don't, but I have not abandoned them completely. I'm still riding with comic books. I enjoy them. There's some I don't enjoy. That's part of life. Anyway, Looking at the website, this is one of my favorite drawn pictures of Isum. I think this is one of the best ones. I think this is the best depiction. And I kind of wish the entire books, like the entirety of the books, were drawn in this style right here. I really do wish that. Eric, if you're watching, make that happen. I always say, I think when you mix the right artist with the right concept or the right character and the correct writer, it works out. There's certain artists that are great, but not great for certain characters. I've seen artists that I love draw certain characters, and I'm like, yo, I typically love this person's art, but they just don't do well drawing this character right here. And I think this is something that you need to get right. This is something that you must get right. And so now you see the books, you see the different campaigns. Again, you can drag and, get what book you want, order what book you want. But what we're going to look at is we're going to look at Goodyng the Polymath, see where the numbers are at. Right now, it's at 141,000 in sales. 4,829 books sold. Now, this is obviously the slowest campaign thus far, I believe, but I think that was to be expected. I don't know how many people were really interested in a Goodyng book, but here's what I think. I think Goodyng is the Tony Stark of the Rippaverse. Now, you might say, that's a ripoff. Yo, you take inspiration from the things that you have read and enjoyed. I am fully convinced that the creation of Tony Stark, Iron Man, was inspired by Bruce Wayne, billionaire, playboy, tech gadgets. Come on. I mean, can you get more obvious? There's nothing wrong with pulling from the things that inspired you. If you read Wildcats, it is no doubt that Jim Lee was heavily inspired by the X-Men, of which he drew for many years. Or for some length of time. I don't know if it was years. I'd have to go back and look at that. At least a year he drew the X-Men. Obviously, this thing played a big role in inspiring his creation of the Wildcat. So again, you can't just completely get away from the things that inspired you. But I didn't think I would be interested in Goodyng until that part of it set in my brain. And I thought, a gadget guy, a genius. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's pretty much what polymath means. I had to look that up. It's a person that is very skilled across different studies, a person of wide-ranging knowledge or learning, a Renaissance man. So polymath, I get it. He's the do-all. He is the Swiss Army knife of the Rippaverse, Shadow Valley specifically. So it says, Goodyng the Polymath is set in the Rippaverse and written by the legendary writer Mike Barron and fantastically penciled by incredible Will Conrad, gorgeously colored by the wonderful Jay Brown, lettered by the outstanding team at Invisible Art Studios. Goodyng the Polymath is a 72-page sci-fi action adventure graphic novel. Now, at first, I thought, okay, so he doesn't have superpowers. Will I necessarily be interested in this? And then as I thought about it, I was like, yes, I absolutely would be interested in this. Not every hero I love has powers. For instance, Batman is my favorite hero of all time. He has no powers. Now, of course, there's fan theories that have gone for years. We theorize that Bruce Wayne has superhuman intellect. Of course, this has never been certified and verified by anyone at DC. So it's, just theory. Anyway, regular dude, Tony Stark, regular dude with gadgets. And I think this is what Goodyng, of course, I'm not putting him in the same league as Tony Stark or Batman for sure. But maybe at some point, this character turns out to be something serious in the Rippaverse. And I think I was misguided in my initial hesitance to really like this character because he seemed boring. Keep it real with you. He seemed boring. But as I hear how he's being described, especially knowing that Mike Barron is writing the story, I'm like, this might actually turn out to be more interesting than I thought. That's how Yaira caught me. Yo, Yaira caught me completely off guard. I was not expecting to like Yaira. When she first showed up in ISOM, there was nothing about her character that initially intrigued me. Was I interested to see what she was about? Sure. I was like, this is an interesting character, but I wasn't like, yo, I can't wait for a Yaira book. That just wasn't me. But after reading the Yaira book and seeing where the book went and how my level of interest definitely went from 3 or 2 to 10, easy right out the gate. I'm like, okay, I now have to see what happened. I have theories about Yaira, and I'm going to talk about it in my Yaira spoiler video where I go over things within the Yaira book. I have theories about Yaira and Exceps. This is something I thought as I was reading the book. I was like, where did Exceps come from? If you read the Yaira book, you probably already know where my mind is going. So I'm definitely gonna get into that just a little bit. So now let's see if we can go over and get into this character section, because I like this section of the Rippaverse website. Now you have a full description and layout of the characters. You want to know about the characters? Are you interested, or you think you might be interested in the Rippaverse and you just don't know? You can go and read about these characters and find a character you like, and say, okay, what books are they associated with? What books are they in? Because this is someone I might be interested in learning more about. So Goodyng The Polymath. Now, I like his backstory, and namely the last sentence in his backstory. There's something that's going to pique, I think, everybody's interest. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Bloodruth. She seems to be focused more on the dark magic maybe, and maybe some other stuff that's just not my cup of tea. I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy the book. I'm not sure she's going to be my interest, but there will be tons of people out there that will completely gravitate toward that. And as I read more about Goodyng, he's like the square good guy. He's like a Steve Rogers, Captain America. These are the kind of heroes that I've kind of gravitated toward, which is always surprising to me that I just don't like Superman. Superman's just never been my thing. I don't know what it is. Okay, it says, I'm not a snitch. I'll take care of it. That's an interesting quote from Goodyng. Says, after graduating as valedictorian, Hartman University offered him a full scholarship. So this is a man of knowledge. This university recognized that knowledge, and Madwire offered him a job. So he was offered a job by, obviously, sounds like a tech company. So he's a smart dude. Everybody recognizes, yo, this dude, he's got the chops. However, for reasons that are his own, he left and started his own venture, eventually founding Goodyng Services. Isn't that interesting? He started his own thing. Despite not being an except, Cato uses his inventive skills to outsmart his opponents. Again, elements from Tony Stark and elements from Bruce Wayne / Batman. They're mixed in. Obviously, some influences from those two characters, in my humble opinion. While his genius mind serves as his greatest asset, his weakness include limited physical strength and a tendency to work alone. Despite these challenges, Cato continues evolving and fighting for righteousness. And it is that last line that immediately got me interested. And I thought, okay, this might be secretly the exact book for me. I'm not saying the other books weren't. I thoroughly enjoy every book I've read from this company so far, but this thing right here, when it said continues involving and fighting for righteousness, I said, Goodyng, you might be the guy I want to read about. You may just be that character that I'm like, I did not expect to like this character so much, but I do. Here's another thing I like about the website. It tells you about the first appearances of these characters. Now, I hope what they've done with this website, they continue no matter how long this company is around, right? Because who knows? Who knows whether this company will survive, whether it won't. I believe it will survive, but I don't know the future. I don't know what the future holds, what lies ahead. But I think if they continue on this path, this will be good. They got their abilities, alter ego, first appearances, base of operations. Yo, I like all of this. I like all of this. And like I said, for those who are uninitiated, maybe you've heard people talk about the Rippaverse. You've heard people who hate the Rippaverse. You've heard people who love the Rippaverse, and you don't know who's telling the truth. I think you can go to this website and get a good idea of what side you agree with, whether you're going to like these characters or not. By the way, whoever did the artwork on this website, yo, get it. I hope this is someone who has been drawing books, because if they're not, does it say? Let me see does it say who drew these characters? Nah, it doesn't say. Eric July, please let us know who did the art on this website, because whoever it is, they need to create a character and draw their own book. This is phenomenal art, in my humble opinion. But you get to see some of the characters. I'm just, kind of scrolling through. Yanessa, Yantoni, Magnus Numite. Yo, as far as villains, so far in the Rippaverse, Magnus Numite is the guy. As far as villains, he's just one of those villains when he pops up on the scene, you're like, yo, he's a bad guy, but I like this bad guy though. Like, I want to see more of this bad guy. He's menacing just enough that I want to see what's going on with him. So this is an exciting transition, moving into a more professional look. Horseman is another one. Horseman has like a Nightwing, Batman, Daredevil, Green Arrow sort of feel. Of course, as I said already, characters are going to be inspired by other characters. This is just the nature of life. There's nothing new under the sun. Everyone pulls inspiration from somewhere. Stefania is actually one character that I am probably the most intrigued and more intrigued and interested by than I thought I would. And you get to see a lot of the, supporting characters that have been throughout, the Rippaverse so far. Like I said, you can go through, read some of the descriptions. You can see first appearances. Like Valadan, I believe, is one of the group Northrica. And I believe he was first appeared in I Someone. Yeah, first appeared in I Someone. Yo, we haven't heard. This is what I'm waiting for. I'm telling you what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the announcement and release of the Northrica book. Here's my plea, my call. You got to get a really great dynamic artist. And in my humble opinion, I think what the Rippaverse has been doing is they've been experimenting in their books with different inkers, which I get. I completely get different inkers and different colorists. Yo, do all that testing in the background with Northrica. Get the right artist with the right inker, because that can go a long way. I remember reading Jim Lee and Scott Williams used to do his inks. Jim Lee's art and Scott Williams' inks is like a marriage made in heaven, in the comic book heavens. Like, it was meant to happen. Scott Williams was meant to ink Jim Lee's pencils. So whatever you do, please get that settled before Northrica comes out. I get it. I understand why some of the books you've released thus far, you have different inkers. You're probably trying to suss out what inker works best with what artists, and you're probably taking, it's just my guess, probably taking some fan feedback. If that's the case, I respect it. Get this settled with Northrica, because I am really, really, especially after reading Yaira, oh man, I got so many questions and so many theories. But as I said, I believe Goodyng is going to be the Tony Stark of the Rippaverse. This is going to be, as far as tech, this is going to be that guy. And this book might be one that I'm more excited. I'm more excited after I read it. Probably. I'm just, guessing. It's probably going to sell slow, but after reviews come out, this will probably be one of those books that more and more people go, okay, I wasn't interested, but I may have to pick this one up. I'm looking forward to it.